Good morning. We will be talking about Startup Visa Program of Canada today. Did you know that almost 90% of letter of support for the program are issued by incubators? Today, we will bring you the interview that I had with a very great interview with the YSpace and Incubator from York University, and we will get to your questions. Let's get started.
Just a quick reminder before we start. Please note that whatever you hear in these live sessions or any content you see on social media by Sabirov's law firm is general information only and not legal advice. While we may use certain real-life scenarios or legal cases for learning purposes, it is important to remember that this does not constitute a legal opinion. For personalized legal advice, please consult with your lawyer or hire a Canadian immigration lawyer. Now, let's get back to our show.
As usual, we will start with news pieces that we think are relevant to you as a potential business immigration applicant. News piece number one comes from Brampton. Brampton is one of the many cities that will benefit from Housing Accelerator Fund, and as you can see in this news piece in Brampton, 24,000 new homes are coming to the city in the next decade. In the next 10 years, there will be a lot of construction activity in that city. This is an attempt by Canadian government to make more affordable housing, rental housing, and so on. Other initiatives by Canadian government has been recently to allow the accelerated approval of 100,000 units to be built across Canada, and also allowing to waive the GST and HST taxes from properties that are developed for rental, not for sale, but rental properties. So if you want to be in the construction industry in Canada, this is the right time to enter and become a significant player in the near future. Next piece relates to the EV battery sector. As you can see, a news piece from Global News says that Canada and Ontario governments, they have put almost $1 billion to EV battery parts plant in the city of Loyalist Township, and it will become one of the biggest players in the EV industry. Again, another industry in Canada, and I suggest that you read this news piece. Ontario and many other parts of Canada, other provinces are trying to get on this wave of EV and electrification across Canada. You might think as a potential area of exploration for your business. And the third one relates to electrification, and actually it's a clean tech related topic. EDC, Export Development Canada, a crown corporation that facilitates exports from Canada to other parts of the world. They published a very good report, and I suggest that you read. We will link all the information underneath this video. This is a Canadian government report, and I will read it over this coming weekend. There are a lot of information. There is rich information in this report that you will benefit if you're exploring clean tech or related subjects. Also, you can explore the possibility of international trade. Once you become a Canadian entity and Canadian producer, you can export with the help of EDC across the globe. These are the three pieces that I wanted to share. The links are below, and we will start with our show right away.
Are you constantly on the move, managing your business, and looking for a convenient way to stay informed about expanding your business to Canada? Look no further. Introducing Speaking of Canada, the podcast that keeps you in the loop on all things related to Canadian business immigration, delivering the latest news, invaluable tips, and captivating interviews, no matter how busy your schedule gets. Speaking of Canada has got you covered.
Today, as I mentioned, we will be talking about Canada's Startup Visa Program in association with an incubator called YSpace, based in Toronto at the University of at York University up north in Toronto. And before I bring that interview with YSpace, David Kwok is my guest, who is a Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at YSpace. It's a designated incubator that can facilitate your startup visa application by offering its incubation program and letter of support. Before we do that, I want to bring to your attention the guides that we have on Startup Visa at sobirovs.com. This is a detailed guide on Startup Visa for 2023. We regularly update this. Go and check it out, and you will. It's very straightforward. The eligibility requirements for Startup Visa, you know most of that requirements, but there are some insights which compares Startup Visa to other business immigration programs. I also suggest that you read my recent article about Startup Visa. This one compares business immigration programs to Startup Visa program and explains the differences for foreign entrepreneurs such as yourself. And the second one, which is more narrow to the topic of Startup Open Work Permit, which was announced last June by then Minister of Immigration Sean Fraser. And I'm trying to answer this question: will the 3-year visa open work permit become permanent? So I suggest that you read these two pieces and make your own informed decision. Now we will bring you the interview with David Kwok, Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at YSpace in Toronto. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Rahmat Sabirov and I have an amazing guest, David Kwok, Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at YSpace. Welcome, David. Great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Rahmat. I'm really excited for the conversation.
Excellent. Let's get to know you first. Who you are, what do you do?
My name is David. I'm the Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation with YSpace. We're part of York University, one of the large academic institutions in Ontario, where we provide services to not only our students and alumni, but we actually work into the community. So you do not need to be affiliated with the university. We're working with really any entrepreneur right across the country. We have various different programs from technology focus, food and beverage, women entrepreneurship, black entrepreneurship, and the newest year addition we're really excited about is working with international entrepreneurs and helping them come to Canada, understand the Canadian market and what they can do and how they can tap into the resources that we have to really help them expand their business or grow their business here.
For those international audience members that don't know York University, can you give us a brief overview of that university?
So York University is one of the largest academic institutions, I believe. We're second in terms of student size population. For us as a university, we have various faculties, very strong academic research, really understanding the space of AI, autonomous vehicles, vision research. So all those different things add to it, and we can actually leverage that by getting our companies to work with our researchers to develop new technology, because as a university, we have an inventor-owned policy. So anything that's developed by our researchers in partnership with the companies, they get to keep it. We're not taking anything of it. We're really trying to move forward the innovation agenda and really create new technologies from a Canadian standpoint.
Let's start with the history of YSpace. Why YSpace? What happened that moment that YSpace came to as an idea?
One thing we believe in when we started 6 years ago was access. We thought entrepreneurship is a great buzzword, but there's a lot of myths out there. There's a lot of ideas of what it could be, what I could get, but it was really hard to access information, access programming. There's a lot of limitations. So we went on the path 6 years ago to say, how do we increase access for entrepreneurship for everyone and understand and demyth a lot of the nuances that are out there. So for us, creating life cycle programs, creating programs within different verticals, that was really important to create that additional access. Whether you're local or international, we found that it was the best way for us to really reach our audience. And a good example of that was we started in tech 6 years ago with our YSpace Markham, which is our physical site in Markham. And we did tech. It was really good, really successful. We had a bunch of food and beverage companies. Folks in the agri-food space coming to us and say, hey, help us. You're an incubator. And we're like, yeah, but we're a tech incubator. So they got us thinking, well, why don't they have the same level of access to support? And how do we create that level of access? So 5 years ago, we actually created Ontario's first food and beverage accelerator, helping those companies go national, go international. So now we're actually seeing an opportunity to tap into this agri-tech space. Because of our knowledge in the agri-food space, as well as our technology space, we can start diving into these different areas that traditionally was not getting the support, where now we can provide them the same level of support and kind of playbook, if you will, where it's like, here's where you go when you're hitting these milestones, here's the type of support you're gonna get, and then really ensure them that they're having a path to success no matter where they're coming from or no matter what industries they're trying to get into.
What's the first step that you would advise international entrepreneurs to do if they want to work with YSpace?
The first step is take a look at the website, but also more importantly, book a consult with us. Talk to our team, understand what's going on, because there's a lot of information on the website and you might feel, am I ready? Am I this? And there's a lot of questions going through your head. The consult is free and our team just wants to better understand from your point of view, what are you looking for and how do we help? So first and foremost, I would say the most important thing, book the consult with our team, talk to Jason, and he can walk you through the different processes, the different options that we have, and really cater to your needs and help you understand what are the best options for you.
What's new at YSpace with respect to Startup Visa program?
So with our Startup Visa program, there's 2 stages essentially we're putting folks through. One is called the Blueprint, which is a 6-week educational program. You get weekly workshops, you get weekly mentorship sessions, you get accountability sessions with our team and peer-to-peers. And the whole idea of that 6-week is the business idea you have when you're trying to come to Canada, different market, different context, different environment. Is it feasible? How do we prove that? How do we kind of understand and conduct the market research we need and the validation from the customers to understand, can this be successful here? So that program is really about that validation piece. And then at the end of the program, we have an assessment tool where kind of has a scoring card. So companies who get 80 or higher then move on to our Launchpad program, which is the idea of now that you've proven, there's a market here, it's feasible, let's get you to become very tactical. Let's actually work on the business and growing it and sustaining it. So we have a year-long program called Launchpad where it's weekly mentorships, accountability coaching to really make sure that you're moving forward. And the best way we like to describe it is that in that program, think of our team as a silent co-founder. We're here to work with you day in and day out to make sure you're successful. We're just as invested and we want to be tactical. We don't want to stay high level strategic. We want to get into the nitty gritty with you. And throughout that year, the idea is that you're either launching, growing, expanding, but we're right there with you every step of the way. And for folks who are potentially at the end of the blueprint, don't hit that 80 marker to graduate into our Launchpad program, we provide an additional 3 months support. Because we understand sometimes there's different complications and challenges. So we want to give you a little bit of time to say, okay, in these next 3 months, let's create a plan, milestones, and what we need to do to get you to our Launchpad program. And can we do that in the next 3 months? So we try to make sure that we're not saying, hey, you're done our program, we're done. It's, you're done our program. If we're not moving next step, let's get you there. How do we get you there?
What do you want to see from a potential applicants for the Blueprint program?
For our Blueprint program, there's a couple main things. We want to make sure there's a working website. We would love to see a minimum viable product. Usually during our interview calls, we ask for a demo, just to see how it works, get a better understanding of it, and that they've really thought through the business a little bit in terms of the different nuances. So even in our application, we're asking them things like, what's your revenue model? How are you thinking about selling this? What's the problem you're solving? So we're trying to get to that nitty gritty level and making sure that they have a product that they're kind of coming and testing. If they have an idea, it's okay, but we need to understand the roadmap. What is your roadmap to getting this product to a minimum viable product? We understand some products take a long time to develop, but we just need to make sure that there's a roadmap and there's a plan to get that done. And then for us, the last piece is really understanding the founders, right? Are they coming and do they really want to work on the business? And how do we work with them to understand, the nuances of that process and what does that look like? Because for us, the founder is just as important, or the founding team, I should say even, because sometimes we have more than one founder in there. How does the founding team react to criticism, to feedback? Things of that nature is really important to us because they're going to get a lot of feedback from our mentors, from the market. So we need to make sure they are comfortable with that and they know how to take those feedback as well.
And David, startups can be of various kinds and at various stages. Do you always take them through Blueprint, or you can accept startups at different stages of maturity, let's say?
We still want to make sure we're doing a little bit of due diligence to make sure the business you're bringing over is adaptable to the Canadian market. So for those companies that are more mature, we have a condensed version that's really more like a week. We sit you down very rapidly, get you through a lot of the validation tools and things like that. So you're not waiting 6 weeks. It's a hyper condensed. We still want to make sure you're hitting that 80 point scorecard to make sure that you're going to be ready for that. Because the last thing we want is to say a very successful company comes over, they can't adapt to the current changes in the Canadian market, and then it doesn't work out, right? So for us, we can, but we want to make sure that at the end of the day, we're taking into account where the business is and how the Canadian market might be different from where they are originally.
How much to invest to be a part of the startup visa program at YSpace?
The total program is $30,000. The way that we structured it is essentially blueprint is $10,000 for the team, up to 5 individuals. So if you like to break it down, $2,000 per person if you have 5. The idea for that program is you're paying $10,000 to really help us really assess the market for you, work with you on the nuances of understanding if it's a good fit. And then $20,000 come during the launchpad piece, which is our year long. So not only will you get the support, we also have physical office space. We also work with you on the letter of support and everything else. So it's about $10,000 up front for the blueprint program and then $20,000 up front for the launchpad. So overall, you can think of it as a $30,000 investment.
Excellent. And now let's delve into the technicalities of the blueprint and the launchpad. So the blueprint is more remote. What does it include in terms of like content of the blueprint?
So from a content standpoint, there's about 6 weeks of educational content that you can get. That's live sessions online, of course, where you can interact with the speaker, get some office hours in there, ask some questions. And then you also get the opportunity to take that learning and work with your mentor to implement it into your business from a week-to-week standpoint. And then we have, I hate the word homework, but you have assignments and tasks you need to complete on a week-to-week to make sure you're progressing accordingly.
David, can you please run us through the process of steps or selection process for the YSpace's startup visa program?
With our startup visa program, the first step is to go on our website, read through the content, and then once you deem, there's a good fit for you, apply to our program on our website through the application form. Once you apply, our team gets an automatic email with the application that it's been received, and our team will screen through it internally, take a read, but then also our program advisor on the startup visa side, Jason, will contact you and set up a one-on-one. So what we generally like to do is have a one-on-one with every application coming in because we want to get to know you a little bit. We talked about the importance of the founder themselves. So we wanted to get to know you. We want to understand the business a little bit more. What our team feels is that the application only gives us so much. So we want to have a conversation. Once we go through that conversation, that's our first screening. That's done by Jason on our team. And then typically from there, Jason will then recommend if the team is moving forward to our selection panel, which will include myself, some of our industry experts, some of our mentors. And then from there, the company will be asked to do a pitch, typically about a 5-minute pitch, and then if possible with a short demo of the product and then some Q&A. And then from there, they will also be given an opportunity to ask us some questions that they might have. And then we take that and we assess that. And then from that point on, that's when they'll get told either they're accepted into the Blueprint program or we'll give them constructive feedback to understand what are some changes that we might want to see before they are accepted into the Blueprint program. And then we'll do some constant follow-ups in the coming months to make sure that we're checking in, are they progressing? And if we feel down the road in the next cohort intake they have progressed, then we would take them into that cohort as well.
How many cohort intakes do you have per year?
Right now, we're thinking about 4 intakes a year.
You've mentioned several industries during our conversation. Is it those industries that YSpace focuses on, or do you have any preferences as to the industries where startups are coming from?
We don't have any preference. We work right across the spectrum in terms of what our programming team does. We can work with any industry. We've worked with folks in the AR/VR space. We work with folks in the AI space, autonomous vehicle. So we've worked right across. So for us, industry is less important because we feel like we do have a dynamic team that can work across and a dynamic set of mentors that can coach you across the various verticals.
Do international students benefit from YSpace?
Any student can take our program, any international students can take our program, and we have a variety of programs ranging from I have an idea to I really want to launch a business, how does that process work? We can help those students kind of understand the landscape and what they need to do to get there and be successful in that. But the flip side as well, we actually have some programming that we're integrated with the university working on where it's about work integrated learning. How do we get them experiences working with a startup or working within the entrepreneurial community so they get a little bit of an understanding of the ecosystem before they start? And the unique thing, which I don't think a lot of universities are doing, so we have a program where we provide a stipend to domestic students because that's what the government allows from a grant funding standpoint. But as a university, we've actually come and said, you know what, we're gonna match that funding and we're gonna give it to the international students because we believe in that equality. We believe that the international students shouldn't be penalized for being international. So if a student at York is going through one of our programs called Experience Ventures where they're getting $325 stipend, the university actually matches that and gives an international student the equal amount, so that there's that fairness in terms of that process. So both sides of the world, in terms of domestic or international, can get the exact same experiences going through our programs.
Thank you, David, for the conversation. I truly enjoyed it. What your last words and how the audience can get more information about YSpace?
Yeah, so if they have any other questions, they can check out our website, yorku.ca/yspace, or they can email us at yspace@yorku.ca. The other avenue we're pretty active on is on our Instagram, on our LinkedIn, so you can always shoot us a message on there, and we'll make sure the team follows up. But those are the various ways you can see, and for all the different programs you mentioned, all the information is there, and if you have any questions on other programs, definitely reach out as well.
Well, thank you, David, for an amazing conversation. I hope my audience and our audience finds it very helpful. Thank you again for your time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So I hope you enjoyed this conversation with David Kwok. If you have any questions, feel free to contact his team. They are very responsive. They have a response time of 24 to 48 hours, very fast team, and they are eager to speak to foreign entrepreneurs who have innovative ideas that they want to bring to Canada. As usual, we will be doing Q&A sessions, so get your questions ready and I'll do my best to respond. Let's do it.
To stay updated on all things related to Canadian business immigration, check us out on social media. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter for the latest news and updates. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the notification bell to stay informed about the most recent immigration news, interviews with top immigration specialists, and our weekly live shows. Visit our website at www.sabirovs.com for more information or to book a consultation with our team of experts.
It's great to have you all here today. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. Greetings from Mongolia. One says Hosbayar. Hosbayar, thank you very much for joining from Mongolia, and greetings to Mongolia from Toronto. Let's get your questions, and I'll do my best to direct you to the right resource or answer it right away. Okay, I can look at the screen and I see that Romeo Campos is asking how much your retainer fee is for intra-company transfer. Let me bring the screen to you, and we have fee calculator at sabirovs.com. When you go to sabirovs.com, there's a fee calculator at the top right-hand corner, I would say. When you click there, you can click and answer a few questions, and then it will give you an estimate of fees. There you can find a good estimate, but again, this is a very rough estimate, and more specifics should be discussed with our lawyer in a strategic meeting with you for 1 hour. And I strongly suggest and advise that you book 1 hour strategy meeting with us, and everything that you want to ask from a lawyer in terms of intra-company transfer, you can do that. Also, I want to bring to the screen again, there is a section on our website. If you go under business immigration, there's an intra-company transfer guide, a detailed guide for you to read and understand how things will work. And if you have questions, again, book a consultation, and we will discuss in more detail about the fees, what needs to be done, and so on. Okay, next question that I have is from Abrar Ahmed. As a US-based startup owner with $1 million in funding, can I move myself with a new subsidiary based in Canada and sponsor an LMIA for myself as a CEO? Well, there are a few ways to move. If you are a US citizen, then that's a more hassle-free. If you are not a US citizen, then and your startup has been functioning for at least 1 year prior, you can do intra-company transfer. That's an LMIA exempt category. You don't need LMIA for that. But you can, if ICT is not the right fit, then probably a global talent stream. If you establish a company in Canada in the IT sector and you fund it accordingly, you have enough funding, you can hire, that company can hire you through Global Talent Stream for category A worker, which means your salary should be at least 80,000 Canadian dollars approximately, but that number changes. So that's another way. And the third way usually is, again, LMIA exempt way, is C11 significant benefit work permit. Depending on what you want to do, what will be the impact of your business to Canada? Will it be a significant economic impact and benefit? If that's the case, then significant benefit work permit is something you may consider. All these business immigration programs have been compared in my previous videos. Check out the YouTube channel. There's a comparison between C11, C10, and intra-company transfer. Coming back to your question is, what's the best way if you can do an LMIA? Yes, the Canadian entity, whether you're a subsidiary or a branch, Canadian legal entity can apply for LMIA and get an LMIA for you as a CEO. But again, the strategy could be, I'm just guessing here, could be that to bring you over to Canada on an LMIA exempt category first, on a work permit, and your family comes with you, and then think about getting an LMIA. So that's, second step could be a better strategy. Again, talk to our senior business immigration lawyers through a 1-hour strategy meeting. We will delve into those nuances of your application. Okay. Next one is from Rao. I think it's Mr. Rao or Mrs. Rao. Ms. Rao, is there any business immigration pathway for a foreign national entrepreneur who primarily wants to invest as an owner or investor in a business in Canada without intending to run it? Well, all business immigration, and then you add something there to add to the note above, the business itself will be run by Canadian partners, employers. Well, all business immigration programs in Canada require your active participation in the decision making and running the business. Of course, you can be let's say the CEO of the company, but you have the team who actually runs day-to-day life. But you are actively involved in decision making, in making certain priorities, setting priorities, and so on. That's you need to be involved in. And plus, make no mistake that going to the permanent residency requires you sometimes, if you go with, for example, PNP business immigration programs, provincial business immigration programs, requires you to reside in certain territory, relevant territory, for roughly 70% of your time. So if your question is about, let me become a passive business owner and do it from a distance, that could be something to seriously consider, because the law says that you need to be actively involved. That's why you get a work permit. But if you don't require a work permit, if you say, I will be just a shareholder of a business in Canada, yes, you can do it. But that doesn't bring you to Canada on a work permit. The work permit, when work permit comes into the play, then you need active participation, at least at the higher level, the decision-making level, the executive level. Then the rest of the team will be running the day-to-day operations. That's possible. Again, you need to strategize and see what's your objective ultimately. Do you want to get a work permit? Yes. Do you want to get permanent residency? Yes or no? So these are the considerations to build your case so that Immigration Canada doesn't have any objections to move you forward with other immigration status in the country. Okay. Abrar Ahmed says, thank you very much for explaining in detail. Thank you for the question. We are here to respond to your questions in general, as a general information. The purpose of these Q&A sessions, just for you to know, is for me to guide you to the right avenue, to the right path, so that you do and go and make your own further detailed research. But we've done a lot of research and we published a lot of materials on our website. Many people, almost 30,000 people visit our website per month. And most of them are from Canada and the United States. So We can see that people in Canada are interested in business immigration because they probably don't have any other pathway to permanent residency. And people from India, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Mongolia, and many other people, they benefit from the materials on our website. I suggest that you read those, listen to our videos or podcasts, and then book a meeting with us where we have a fruitful conversation. We don't have to educate you on what you already know. We will go into details and strategize your immigration plan. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to respond. Here's another question from Rao. Is it possible to get a work permit via Global Talent Stream under one of the specified jobs? Well, for that, if you mean the category B on the Global Talent Stream, there's a list of professions under which they can hire you. A Canadian employer needs to hire you for that. Okay? So yes, it is possible. The short answer is possible, but there should be a Canadian employer who needs your skills, who is attracted to your qualifications and offers a profession, a vacancy under that specific code, NOC code that are listed under category B of the Global Talent Stream. Abrar is coming back with another question. I understand that other programs might be more beneficial for this use case. I had read somewhere that is that as an indirect ownership, you mean. If your questions, I quite didn't get it, but I suspect that if you become a passive investor, there's no passive investment program in Canada. You have to be actively managing the business. So again, it's very specific. I'm not able to respond to this, but what I know is Canada, as we speak today on October 25th, does not have passive investment immigration program. I understand. Okay, that's a clarification, I guess. Owner of the company, LMIA sponsorship for CEO is not possible. No, it is possible. It is possible. The LMIA itself is a process where you prove to the Canadian government that you couldn't find the CEO in Canada, right? If you can prove that, and Canadian authorities, ESDC, is happy to give you a positive LMIA, then that CEO can come and run the business. We've done LMIAs for CEOs, and the CEO is the major shareholder of that company, one of the shareholders of that company. Okay, I think we are done with questions today. It's great to see you all. We will see you next week. And stay tuned, we have a great piece about Prince Edward Island, and we will have another piece about very interesting topic that we've been researching for some time. If you have questions, leave your questions as comments under this video and we will get back to you, I promise. Great to see you all. Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.